All right, let's get right into it. Today we're looking at something pretty cool. Two stories that feel like they're from completely different planets. One is this wild, surreal trip into a bureaucracy that makes no sense, and the other is a super realistic deep dive into the world of insurance claims. They seem like total opposites, right? Well, as we're about to see, they're actually chasing the exact same idea, just from opposite ends of the universe.
So picture this. On one hand, you've got this guy, Kay. He works in an office where walking downstairs might take you to the floor above, and his job, get this, is to manage something called hyper-absence. It's basically a nothingness so powerful it can literally erase reality. Then, on the other hand, you've got Sandra. Her world is all about rules, procedures, and checklists. She's out there measuring water damage, taking pictures of cracked walls, and filling out forms. Her reality is solid, logical, and makes perfect sense.
So that's the big puzzle, isn't it? How on earth can a story about fighting metaphysical black holes have anything in common with a story about filing an insurance claim for a leaky roof? Well, that's exactly the mystery we're going to unravel today. Okay, let's start with the first major clue, these all-powerful systems that basically run each character's life.
This line from one of Kay's supervisors just says it all, doesn't it? Kay is completely trapped in a bureaucracy where the rules are meant to be confusing. Logic is turned upside down, and trying to understand anything is actually the worst thing you can do. The whole system is a giant, beautiful, frustrating paradox.
And then you flip the coin completely. For Sandra, this system is her safe place. Its cold, rigid logic is like a shield. It protects her from the chaotic, human mess she has to witness every single day. She doesn't have to worry about paradoxes, she just has to follow the steps in the manual.
So here's the wild part. It doesn't matter if the rules are totally nonsensical or perfectly logical. The end result is the same. Both Kay and Sandra are living inside these powerful systems that create their own reality, that tell them what's real and what matters. One uses chaos, the other uses order, but both are inescapable. Why? Because we're wired to look for structure. We'll adapt to any set of rules, just so we have a game to play. All right, let's move on to the next piece of the puzzle. Both of these stories are absolutely obsessed with the idea of absence, but they come at it in two totally different, totally fascinating ways.
So in Kay's world, absence isn't just, something missing. No, it's a living, breathing, dangerous thing. This hyperabsence is an object that is so completely and totally gone that its nothingness acts like a black hole, threatening to suck in everything around it. Kay's actual job is to fight this void. It's a crazy sci-fi idea. And then, the tone shifts completely. We're with Sandra. She's inspecting the home of a woman named Margaret Ellis, who, she finds out later, died right before the inspection. And this is how she describes the woman's empty house. The absence here isn't some cosmic force. It's that quiet, heavy, heartbreaking emptiness left behind when a person is gone for good.
And right there, that's it. It just clicks into place. One story turns absence into a literal monster you have to fight with sci-fi gadgets. The other finds that exact same overwhelming power in the silence of an empty home. They're both telling us that what isn't there can sometimes hit us harder than what is.
So, if you're stuck in one of these systems, dealing with these intense kinds of absences, how do you possibly survive it? Let's take a look at how our two heroes learn to adapt.
Kel's journey is pretty incredible. He starts out totally lost, just like we would be. But slowly he starts to pick up on the bizarre rules of the game, what the source calls the grammar of impossibility. And here's the key. He doesn't fight the system. He learns to speak its language, to master its nonsense, until he's one of its top players.
Now, Sandra's method is completely different, but it's just as vital for her own survival. How do you deal with seeing people's lives destroyed by floods and fires every single day? You build a wall. You create professional distance. You focus on the procedure, on the material facts, not the human tragedy. It's not because she's heartless. It's a shield she has to use to keep from falling apart.
And this is Kay's ultimate survival strategy, perfectly summed up in a note he gets from his predecessor, who, of course, turns out to be a future version of himself. How do you win in a world that makes zero sense? You stop trying to make it make sense. You just have to lean in and trust the chaos.
Sandra, though, she starts to see the limits of her own strategy. After working a huge disaster, she has this moment of clarity. She realizes her system is amazing at fixing buildings, but it is completely, totally useless at fixing people. Her professional distance is a tool that works, but she's smart enough to know it's not the whole picture.
So, we've looked at the systems, the different kinds of absences, and how our heroes survive. Now it's time to bring it all home. What's the final thread that ties all of this together?
This is the secret key to the whole thing. Both of these stories are just mechanisms for looking at the world. The surreal story takes invisible feelings, like being trapped in a pointless job, and makes them real, physical things you can see and touch. The super-realistic story does the exact opposite. It zooms in so close on the boring, everyday procedures of life that it exposes the deep human emptiness hiding just under the surface.
And when you look at them side by side, they show us some pretty profound things about our own lives. That the systems we build for ourselves, at work, in society, they literally create their own realities. They teach us that what's missing, what's absent, can be an incredibly powerful force. And maybe most importantly, they show us that we're all just like Kay and Sandra, trying to figure out our own strategy to navigate the rules of the game.
And that's why the title of this source is so brilliant. The mechanisms of absence. That's not just Kay's weird job, it's also about the human void Sandra finds. Surface tensions. That's not just Sandra's procedural world, it's also the fragile reality Kay is trying to hold together. They're not two stories, they're one.
And that really just leaves one last question. You and I, we probably don't work in an office where time runs backwards. But we all live inside systems with their own strange rules, and we all have to deal with absence. So the real question these stories are asking is, what are the invisible systems, and what are the hidden absences that are shaping your reality?